Welcome to the Birth Journeys podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Hof, BSN RN. I am a wife, a mother of two, and a nurse specializing in the care of women and newborns. In this podcast, we will share powerful journeys of birth givers with the goals of lifting the veil on the birth experience, healing through sharing, and beginning an open conversation to strengthen trust and promote transparency between birthing people and healthcare providers.
Hello. Today I have with me Amy Suzanne. Amy is the founder and CEO of Pink Stork, a women-owned and women-operated company supporting women on their journey to motherhood. But more so, she is a wife and a mama to 6 kids, whose motherhood journey has been filled with obstacles from infertility, severe morning sickness, and a deathbed scare, all with military deployments complicating these challenges. The most recent part of her journey has been navigating raising her youngest, Maximilian, who has Down syndrome. Through this, she has learned that we can all make a difference in the world, and she desires to advocate for the Down syndrome community. Amy, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, thanks so much for having me on your show.
I am so excited to hear. I can't even imagine having 6 kids. 2 was hard enough for me, but I want to hear about your journeys and how that has led to how you're showing up in the world, your company, the advocacy, all of that, and how you manage to balance all of it. I have a lot of friends that are military. I have a lot of friends that have had lots of challenges through their pregnancy. Obviously, I'm a labor nurse, so I've seen all the challenges. And my goal in life is to validate everybody's birth experience and motherhood experience and try to help everybody show up for each other. So I'm really excited because you are so a part of that.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to share, and hopefully someone can get some inspiration and learn a little bit. But yes, every story is so unique. Every body is so unique.
Yeah. So tell me how it all started out. Did you have the infertility right off the bat?
So growing up, I always struggled with irregular cycles, and my doctor had told me you were going to probably not be able to have kids. And so no one really thinks about that when you're 16 years old. You're just, go along your merry way. And I obviously got married to my husband. It was kind of like one of those conversations. I was like, I'm not really sure if I'm going to be able to have kids. I kind of come to accept that, I guess, without much questioning. And anyways, lo and behold, 2 weeks after we got married, I found out I was pregnant. My insurance company called me and said, oh, by the way, you're pregnant. So I was getting on military insurance. I was like, oh, are you sure? Because I think there must be a mix up. There's no possible way. My doctor said this wouldn't happen. Anyways, I was. And yeah, that kind of started my then journey into motherhood. I very quickly found myself in and out of the hospital. I was diagnosed with hyperemesis gravidarum, which I believe 1% of the population gets. And I just explain it as extreme morning sickness. So I wasn't able to keep anything down. I had feeding tubes. I had, medicine being pumped inside my body just to be able to stay hydrated and stay alive. And then at one point, I caught sepsis. I had my PICC line got infected with a very rare bacteria from Afghanistan. Like I said, my husband was in and out of the military. I don't know how this stuff happens. I can't make it up either. It's crazy. God works in mysterious ways. And long story short, it was just a very challenging time mentally, physically, spiritually. I felt like I had no control over what was happening. I didn't have any control. And it was just a challenging time. I ended up delivering a healthy baby boy. He was premature, but I got through it all. And then I very quickly found out that I was pregnant again, 10 weeks later. So at this point, I'm this big around. I have a newborn. We moved to Hawaii, which sounds great. You're getting stationed in Hawaii. You've got a newborn, you're ready to get your life on track. And then wham, I get hyperemesis again. So I end up actually doing this 4 more times. We're just moving all around the country and I get pregnant 4 times. I have hyperemesis each time, but actually the 4th time is kind of when I was done. I was like, I was high risk with all my pregnancies. I was in and out of the hospital. I was relying on complete strangers just to help me with my other kids. It was just a hot mess, to say the least. And I was so angry. I didn't understand why God was doing this. Like I didn't understand what was happening. So with my fourth pregnancy, I decided I'm going to do things really differently. And I knew what was coming. I knew I just found out I was pregnant. And I was like, I got with my team of doctors and my mom, who was a nurse, and we were like, let's try something really different. So we started looking at what I was putting in and on my body, and basically had just a completely different experience. And for anyone that's familiar with hyperemesis, each time you get pregnant, they say it gets worse. So with this being my fourth and having a 180 experience where I wasn't in the hospital, I was able to like chase my own kids around, eat my own food, just the little things in life where every day was a win. I knew God had showed me something, and I wanted to help other women that were struggling with their own bodies. I knew the pain that was. I knew what that felt like. I knew the frustrations. And so without any business experience or knowing anything, I just knew I wanted to help women that were hurting. I started Pink Stork. So we started with 9 different products, kind of just really clean, natural ingredients that were there to help support you through your pregnancy, to give you the vitamins, the nutrients, the minerals that your body would need. And so started Pink Stork. And then I'm trying to think how I kind of marry all this together. Work and family just kind of mesh. It's all one for me. It doesn't really get separated. But I had Gloria, 5th pregnancy, again, used kind of the Pink Stork regime, and another amazing experience. When I say amazing, I mean, I'm not in the hospital. I'm still, I do get some morning sickness, but it's not the extreme that I had another healthy baby girl. And then a few years later, I have Maximilian, and he is a healthy baby boy. He has Down syndrome, which has been a whole new learning experience, but it's been an amazing experience, something that I'm eternally grateful for our family. He's such a blessing. But, with all that said, 6 different pregnancies, 6 totally different birth stories. Each one has their own. I've done medicated births. I've done emergency C-sections. I've done natural births at home. Like I've done it all. And I think through it all, you learn so much about your body. You learn so much about your inner strength, about yourself, about things that you thought, you couldn't do, but you can do. And it's such an empowering, life-changing experience for women. It's hard to plan for. I mean, I always think it's like, you hear women talking about their birth plans and how they want to do things. And, at least for me, it's usually the complete opposite of what I think I wanted. I know with Maximilian, my last one, which is just the one that comes to mind, I really wanted a water birth. Like that's one thing I haven't experienced was the water birth. And I was like, oh, I'll do a water birth. This will be so fun. No, it was an emergency C-section in the middle of the night. Like not at all what I had planned, buddy. Like breached. Come on. We know how to do this. So I just think it's, learning to give yourself a lot of grace, learning to prepare the best that you can, but ultimately having an open mind to trust your body, to trust your instincts. And for me, that's kind of what I found has been just so I never thought that you would be able to experience something so transformative as giving birth, and how empowering that is as a woman. So I say all that now, I look at kind of what Pink Stork has done as well. And a lot of it has been through my own personal experiences, starting with helping women with morning sickness, helping women with infertility, helping women prepare their bodies for the labor and delivery process, as well as recovering from that labor and delivery process, and then into like the nursing and breastfeeding journey that can be super challenging on top of everything else that your body just went through. So, I think it's having a love of learning and an open mind for things to come. And now, really learning a lot about like Down syndrome and what that means for Maximilian and what that means for vitamin deficiencies as well. And it all, I think, just comes back to I think God has a plan for everyone. And that plan is not always anything that we can think of, but I'm a big believer in having faith in God's plan and trusting him for your life. And I hope to be, I don't always get it right or do it right, but I hope people can look and see my story and see him and his grace in my life and with the women's lives that we've been able to touch through Pink Stork.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know about that, not doing it right. I think those are all lessons that are put in our path for a reason. So.
Yes, that is true. Sometimes him and I just have some conversations.
Yes. It's like, okay, this is a challenge and I'm going to learn from this obstacle and move forward and be better for it.
Definitely.
That is also wonderful. Can you talk about some of the products that helped you? Like, I'm fascinated by finding products that actually help with pregnancy, that are easier on the system and don't involve uprooting your life to go to the hospital to get IV fluids and medications and all that.
Right. Yeah. I think, I always say sometimes the simplest solution is the best solution. So when you think about your pregnancy and your body is obviously doing a lot of work. And so making sure you have the right vitamins and minerals in your body to be able to support all the work that it's doing, I think is just kind of like the foundational layer. So, we're really, that's what our prenatals are for. That's what prenatals are for. And then any deficiencies that you might have within your body, I'm a big advocate of, getting your blood work and seeing, are you deficient in iron? Even before your pregnancy, I think like testing your levels to see kind of where you're maybe deficient in some nutrients and building it up. Do you need iron? Do you need folate? Like where everybody is different. Magnesium, women are, I think like 80% of women are just completely deficient in magnesium. So, that's kind of like a baseline. And then I think, we offer herbs as well. So our teas have a lot of herbs, and these herbs have been used for centuries to help women's body. Like I said, the simple things, like this isn't rocket science here. It's using herbs that have been studied and used for centuries for women's bodies to be able to help with their fertility or their preparation for labor. Red raspberry leaf tea is a great example of that. So, toning that uterus. Your uterus is a muscle to really help strengthen that uterus before pregnancy and also after pregnancy. Again, that muscle has to go back down and tighten up, and things need to go back in its, I guess, proper spot. So making sure your uterus is really toned is really important as well. Again, herbs for lactation. Like, I'm not saying anything that I'm sure, your listeners don't already know. I just think we at Pink Stork focus on bringing it all together, which is what I wanted when I was pregnant and when I was searching. There wasn't a brand or a company that you could trust that was just for women. We call it FPPN, fertility, pregnancy, postpartum, and nursing. That was just for this season of life, because it is so important and transformative. And you want to make sure you're putting in safe, natural, great ingredients during this season of life.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I just remember, just off the top of my head, the things that I needed something to help with the nausea, first of all. Hey, buddy.
Sorry, he's like
cutie
nurse right now.
No, that's fine. I just think that, oh gosh, it was a game changer. Like you were saying, the magnesium.
Mm-hmm.
I had kind of preterm labor. They put me on Procardia, which is a blood pressure medication. And as soon as I took it, I was like, okay, first of all, my baseline blood pressure during pregnancy was like 80/40. Crazy low. So then to put me on a blood pressure medication to prevent preterm labor, just it didn't feel right to me. And I had a magnesium supplement. And so I was like, maybe let me try this.
Right.
And it stopped the preterm labor.
It's wild, isn't it?
But the thing is, the reason that I thought of it is because obviously I'm a labor nurse. So when people come in, at times they will put them on magnesium for preterm labor.
Interesting.
Yeah, but it's like IV magnesium. And I was like, I wonder if like just a oral magnesium would help. And it really did. And then, obviously I drank the red raspberry leaf tea. And I wonder, maybe you can enlighten me a little bit on this, like what the balance is between the magnesium and the red raspberry leaf tea. Because if we're trying to prevent preterm labor, but also toning the uterus, like what is the disconnect there? Like, is it, you can always have too little or too much of something in your system. And so it's always about a balance. How do you advise moms, or how do you help people achieve that balance? Do you send them to go get the labs, or do you have like a screening process?
Are you pregnant and planning a hospital birth? You don't need a birth plan. You need a birth vision. In my opinion, birth plans set you up for failure. Yep, I said it. Hear me out before you turn off this podcast. You may think that by downloading a generic birth plan, it means you're in control. The truth is, it's not that simple. No one can control exactly how their birth will go. There are way too many variables. What every pregnant person wants is to walk into the hospital pregnant and to walk out with a healthy newborn in their arms. The journey in between is the murky part. It's hard to know what issues might come up that need to be addressed. If you focus your energy on a birth vision rather than giving your power to a birth plan, you can empower yourself to make the best choices for you and your baby. That's why you need to get into my Empowered Hospital Birth program. As a labor nurse and mindset coach, I can help guide you through the process of maintaining the calm autonomy that will help you achieve the birth vision you desire. In my Empowered Hospital Birth program, I will help you identify the source of anxiety you have surrounding hospital birth, fill in knowledge gaps to make sure that you are fully informed and confident, learn key phrases so you can better communicate with your medical team, emotionally process your fears so that they don't hold power over you. Go to kellyhof.com/empowered to book a free 30-minute private birth vision call, where we will identify your top fears and must-haves and gain clarity on exactly how you want to feel in the birth space. That's KELLYHOF.com/empowered. I'm honored to be a part of your birth journey.
No, we don't. I mean, a lot of what we do is there's certain seasons, right? So like your third trimester is when you want to start taking your red raspberry leaf. And we have recommended dosage on there where we've done tests. And so I think though with the vitamins, like that's kind of hard for us to be able, we're not your doctors. So, if you're needing folate levels and trying to get to a certain level or magnesium levels or whatever, you kind of need to work that out with your doctor. But for the most part, a lot of vitamins that you take, your body will get rid of the excess as well. So, and you're also needing excess when you're in pregnancy because your body is doing so much extra work. So it needs that support. But we don't do any consulting as to like blood levels and things like that.
Yeah. So then you were talking about the folate. What kind of folate are you using?
We use the methylfolate. So
amazing.
Yeah. So you need, and again, that's like another thing. Some people come and they don't even realize that they have this, what is it?
MTHFR.
Yes. That deficiency to where their body can't absorb folate properly. So a lot of it, again, it's a learning experience. It's educating yourself. It's learning your body. Like this is just that season of life to have that open mind. And I think a lot of women are transformed during the season of life for this reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And then tell me about your prenatals. Like I know I could not take prenatal vitamins. I had to get those gummies on Amazon.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we offer gummies, we offer liquid, we offer capsules. So it's, the first few months I couldn't take a prenatal either because I couldn't take anything. I was lucky to get water down. So I think you just kind of have to do what you can during that season of life. That's my opinion, is can you stomach, drinking a little? If you can't stomach taking a pill, maybe, you try the gummy version. So it's just, at Pink Stork, we like to offer a variety of options. That way you can figure out what's best for you and your body.
Yeah, I love that. That's amazing. And then hyperemesis. Okay, I am so curious what you guys do to help with that and
Oh
how
my goodness.
that process works. What did you find out? Because you talked about you had to do some research and stuff like that. Can you tell me about that process?
Yeah, hyperemesis is wild. So what we came to the conclusion of was bacteria in the gut. So this gut bacteria, I'm forgetting its medical name right now, having one of those brain moments. It'll come to me like in my sleep tonight. H. pylori. There it is. H. pylori.
Ooh.
So linking the H. pylori in the gut to the hyperemesis. So if you can basically have a really healthy gut, that would help with hyperemesis or your morning sickness levels. So what we did is taking one of our supplements. It's called monolaurin, which would help eradicate the H. pylori in the gut. And when you have H. pylori, when you're pregnant, you can't take, they put you usually on an antibiotic to get rid of it. And you can't take this antibiotic. It's not recommended for pregnancy. So trying to eliminate the H. pylori in my gut was what we were trying to do in the beginning. But then not only eliminating the bad bacteria, but then putting in good bacteria. So putting in probiotics to get your gut back on, in healthy realm. So that's really kind of the theory that we take with hyperemesis, or even, with some morning sicknesses that are more extreme, is like, what does your diet look like? What does your gut look like? What can we do to eradicate bad bacteria in your gut? And what can we do to put in some good bacteria in your gut? And it's hard to do that when you're nauseous and throwing up and sick or can't stomach anything. But that's kind of the protocol that we recommend for women. So we have we have probiotics for literally fertility, pregnancy, postpartum, and nursing, because it's so important for each season of life, but definitely during that morning sickness or hyperemesis stage.
That's amazing, because I just feel like you have a different gut during each.
Right. So
stage.
You need different strands to be able to put into your body. And with H. pylori is really interesting. It builds a protective film around the bacteria. And so getting to that film, like being able to get to that bacteria and eat away that film, is really important, because then your natural, immune system can eradicate the bacteria. But because of that film, it's so hard for your natural immune system to get into that GI tract and eradicate the bacteria.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, because they're not looking at a woman's gut bacteria during fertility, pregnancy. Learning about H. pylori, it's just so fascinating, and that the medical community has such a difficult time eradicating it because they don't adopt options that aren't antibiotics or that aren't drugs, essentially.
Right.
And they're starting to get on board with some of the probiotics, but what drives me nuts is that they're not looking at the strain of probiotic. They're going for quantity over quality, right? So they have these concoctions of like 50 million units, and they're saying that this is what you need. And we all know that in life, it's not about too much of one thing. It's about balance and achieving the balance that's right for you at a period of time. And especially women's bodies, which haven't been studied yet, but they should, right? I mean, my gosh. And I just love that you took the time to do that, to come up with, I know that there's evidence out there. It's not necessarily randomized controlled trials like you would find in the medical community. We have a lot of centuries of anecdotal evidence that shows, that women kind of midwives before we had OBs and all that,
right,
we're figuring it out. We kind of figured it out, but then if you know the history of obstetrics, we had this shift where medicine decided to take over, and everything we knew from before was shut down. And so this reemergence of the ancestral knowledge that we have from before medicine is what I am so excited to see come back, so that at some point we can bring the two together. Like, let's not have these silos. Let's bring it together. Let's work together. Let's study women's bodies. Let's make it work. Like, we don't, it's not, it's not war.
Us versus them, or like, you need both. Like, there's a time and a place for both. So
yeah.
balance, right?
Exactly. Yes. I love that you're doing that. That's so amazing. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
No, I mean, I feel like it might be short and sweet, but I feel like you've hit everything. Thank you.
Okay, so this is something that I ask everyone at the end of each podcast, because I feel like you were saying, pregnancy and motherhood is such a transformative journey with so many challenges and obstacles, and it can feel like a time that is very isolating and lonely. So I like to have this reflective moment where, if you could just imagine going back in time and talking to yourself at any point or at multiple points during this process to make yourself feel less alone and less isolated and more hopeful, what would you want to go back and tell yourself? Like, where would you go in time and what would you want to tell yourself?
I'd probably go to the very beginning, like that first pregnancy when I was literally in the hospital by myself for weeks on end, questioning everything and really angry and confused, and just probably tell myself to calm down and start trusting the process. I thought I knew my body, but I had no idea what my body was doing. And I would probably say, just tell myself, like, calm down. There's a plan here. You're just at the start of it. It'll unravel the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, this is the beginning of your journey.
Yes,
Hang
this
on.
is the beginning.
Hold on. You got a wild ride and it's pretty amazing. That's
Yes.
awesome. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's relevant for all moms, right? We just kind of like get into this beginning stages of motherhood and you're like, oh my God, what have I done? But it becomes so expansive. And you're like, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
I had no idea. I love that so much. Well, tell me how to send my viewers to your products.
Oh, thank you. We're on Amazon, which everyone I know knows and loves. Our website's at pinkstork.com. We're in Target and Walmart as well.
Awesome. That is so amazing. I'm so excited. Well, Amy, thank you so much for joining me. I love what you've done with how you've turned your obstacles into opportunities and made your passion helping moms. So I love meeting people in the field just like this that want to get out there and help all their mamas.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning into my podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future episodes. Don't forget to share the podcast with a friend who can benefit from the valuable insights that we share here. And if you could take a moment to leave a 5-star rating and review, it would mean the world to me. If you're ready to work one-on-one with me to embark on a transformational journey towards a confident and empowered hospital birth experience, go to kellyhof.com/empowered and enroll in my Empowered Hospital Birth Coaching Program. Together, we'll create a roadmap to a birth experience that you'll cherish forever. That's KELLYHOF.com/empowered. Let's make your birth experience extraordinary.